What's up, Warriors fans, and welcome back to Warriors Latest. As always, I am your host, Max Arizin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you enjoy the show today, as I do post new Warriors videos daily, and it also helps the channel continue to grow as the season moves along. Now, last night, that was a great comeback win for the Warriors, especially considering it was the first road win that the Warriors had all season. They were 0-6 on the road up until last night, and I was just so happy that they came back because that first half was tough to watch. Now, end of the first, they were down 14 points, 28-14, and it didn't look like they had anything going for them. Looking at their numbers, overall box score, the recap. Let's see. What was it? It was box score. It was just not a good sign from beginning to end. It was all right. So they had a great second quarter, great third quarter, and great fourth quarter. But after that first quarter, it did not look good. The one thing I did like, though, is the Warriors were able to spread the ball around and really find their rhythm with the right guys. Now, looking at the entirety of the stat sheet, all right, it was a great game. Moody had 19, going, what was it? It's 5 for 10 from three. Steph was 5 for 16 from three, and most impressive was Jimmy Butler was 5 for 7 for three. Mr. I can't shoot a three to save my life was nailing a good portion of his three-point percentage. 71.4%. Now that's impressive, especially from Jimmy, but he helped make things happen. He had six rebounds to go with 8 assists and 3 steals. That was a great outing by Jimmy, but overall, Steph actually is now 1 game behind Michael Jordan for the most 40-point games after age 30 with 43. So that just goes to show you how great Steph is just as an individual player. Now, we always have those debates. Where does Steph rank in the top 10? He might actually be the greatest point guard that ever played. I think he needs to win one more title to secure it, but he is the greatest shooter of all time, without a doubt. But games like these are amazing. And for him to lead the kind of comeback win that they needed after a terrible game against the Thunder where he scored 11 points, this is exactly what we need to see from our team leader. He is the MVP of the team. He is one of the 75 greatest players. He is a future Hall of Famer. So it's great to see games like these, especially against the likes of the Spurs, who are the second best team in the Western Conference and one of those up-and-coming teams that are going to be a problem come playoff time. Now, were there issues with the game? Yes, there were. You can't have Wemby scoring a triple-double, and you can't have Steph Castle scoring a triple-double in the same game. Now, that being said, a win is a win is a win. Those triple-doubles are meaningless if you can't win. You want to say, "Oh, I had a triple-double. That's great. How'd you do? How'd you do in terms of competing?" We lost. Then who cares? It's like Devin Booker's 70-point game. Yeah, he got 70 points, but he also took the L. What's the point of scoring 70 if you can't win? We don't play to score points. We don't play to fill the stat sheet. We play to win. And that's what the Warriors did last night. Now, mind again, there were some holes. There were stupid turnovers that could have been avoided. There were fast breaks that were sort of messed up because certain guys aren't completely in sync. And there's the obvious height issue that the Warriors just, after last night, they really need to address. Now, mind you, we look back at last night, and Wemby, with his triple-double, it was 31 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists, with 6 of those rebounds coming on the offensive end. The guy was a man amongst boys. Like, last night, Quentin Post their only 7-footer, the Warriors' only 7-footer, only played 5 minutes last night. And for me personally, that's a problem because you can't have that. It doesn't matter how tough Draymond is. It doesn't matter how tough Al Horford is. You can't have them playing such limited minute, or you can't have them playing consistent minutes on a guy who is a foot taller than them. Like, Al Horford's 6'10", yes, but Wemby is 7'6". And there was times where it's just like, Horford's right here, Wemby's head is right here, and his hands are up here. And he could just grab the rebound and just like miss it 10 times in a row. And there's nothing Horford or Draymond can do, even regardless of how physical they are. You got to remember, Wemby's 240, so he shares close the weight to Draymond, but he's still got all that height. And that's just going to be a problem for the Warriors, especially moving forward, not just with the Spurs, but with every single other team. We saw this exacerbated last week versus the Nuggets with Joker and Jonas Valanciunas, both of them getting in double digits in scoring. And we're going to continue to see it over and over and over again until the situation is addressed. Now, once the situation is addressed, whether that be bringing a guy in from the outside through a trade to improve the roster, get a little bigger, whether that be trading for Derek Lively, finding a way to bring in Zach Edey, trading for Andre Drummond, and so on and so forth, that remains to be seen. I don't know how that could play out. Looking at the Warriors, Moses Moody is currently going to be a staple with this offense going forward. So I have to admit I was wrong about him. He's not going to get traded this season. However, it looks like Kuminga or Pods may be on the block eventually with the likes of Buddy Hield, just to clear some roster space and see how they can create more opportunities moving forward. Because with those three guys, there was an issue that needed, well, it wasn't specifically those three guys, but with the locker room, Draymond did make it a point to call out hidden agendas within the locker room. Now, we could speculate on who that is. Looking at it, it might be Trace Jackson Davis, it might be Santos. I doubt it's Pat Spencer, because Pat Spencer's he reminds me of Joey in that meme from a couple years ago when they did the Friends reunion. He's like, I'm just happy to be here. That's the vibe I get from Pat Spencer. But it could be Santos, it could be Trace Jackson Davis, it could be Buddy Hield, but I don't particularly see that, especially as a more veteran player. I think this is more of a youth thing. It may be Pods, and I would say it's probably going to be Kuminga. But what he did is call out and say, hey, do you guys want to win or do you want to get buckets? Because if you want to win, that's going to get you where you want to go. Just filling up your own stat sheet isn't going to help you. And Draymond truly believes that there's certain players in the locker room that aren't here to win. They're just here to play and fill up their stat sheet. And to speculate, it would be probably Pods and Jonathan Kuminga, because Pods, over and over again, is, from what I've seen and read, he's rubbed a lot of guys in the locker room the wrong way with his statements about taking over as the franchise cornerstone after Steph retires. And it's like, buddy, you've been in the league, what? This is your first 2013 or 23, 24, 5. This is your fourth year in the league. You haven't really done anything yet. Steph was already an all-star by his fourth year in the league. You haven't even sniffed it. So let's relax. Let's focus on winning first, and everything else will take care of itself. With Kuminga, it's fairly obvious because of how crazy the contract talks got this offseason and how I think it overall affected him now with his contract, a 1-and-1 deal. It's basically he has no control over his future, and I don't think he particularly likes that. And now that he was removed out of the starting lineup for Moses Moody, it brings up more questions. The main issue is the Warriors have to try and find a way for him to fit in the offense. And they've given him opportunity and opportunity after opportunity. But for some reason, it's just not working. And the Warriors can't trade him until December 15th, but at least they can get fair value back for him. Now, in the meantime, if they do believe it is Pods, who had a pretty, I want to say, decent game. I like the effort he was giving, and he was really going for it. Now, looking at his numbers from last night, let's see, where he had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 for 7 from the field, but he did affect the game in positive ways. But let's see, I believe he had a couple turnovers too. Let's see, where was it? Yeah, he had 3 turnovers to go along with those 3 steals. So they kind of cancel each other out. But you don't know what you're getting with him. Is he going to be a part, or does he want to just fill out the stat? He's a high-energy player, but I don't know if his high energy fits with what the Warriors are trying to do, especially now that they have the money to sign Seth Curry, who is a higher three-point shooter than Pods, and I think already has chemistry with his brother Steph, with Draymond, and with Jimmy, having been with them in the offseason before being released. Now, with Pods, you can move him for, say, Derek Lively or another inexpensive center that can compete with the likes of Wemby, Rudy Gobert, and all those other bigs who have given the Warriors problems in the past and are going to give the Warriors problems in the future. And I think it's going to be a good tit for tat trade if they go that route, but it's better to go that route sooner rather than later. With Kuminga, who knows what's going to happen there? If they can't integrate him, they might as well move him. And they say, oh, if he doesn't have like a strong offensive game, he's going to be tough to move. I disagree, mostly because of how valuable his contract overall is. Now, there are going to be plenty of teams that want a guy who's on a one-and-one contract because that gives them financial flexibility. And in the modern cap, where you now have the second apron is turned into a hard cap, you want to find ways to get under that hard cap as much as possible because of how strict the penalties are. You get, with a guy like Kuminga, you get a few months to test him out. If you don't like him, here's your free agency, go find somewhere else to play. And you get $22.5 million off the book. On top of that, say you can also get an extra, say, smaller player like, let's say Buddy Hield, because Buddy, great veteran, but you don't know where you're going to go with it. It could go either or. He might not mix into what you're trying to do, but he is still a inexpensive tradable contract for the future, and he's a decent three-point shooter, even though he can be a little streaky. He's a valuable role player, simply put, and he's a fan favorite, so I'll take that. But it also gives the Warriors more open roster spaces to fill with guys that may, say, come into the waiver wire during the buyout season and add to the Warriors' championship aspirations. So I see that as a good thing. But the Warriors have to address these hidden agendas, either get everybody on board or trade away the guys that will not give up their own agendas before it's too late, while also bringing in some guys who can provide additional help in the front court while the Warriors are dealing with those issues, because they've got games that they're going to have to play against bigger centers, and if it's going to be anything like last night, it's going to be a very long season. Now, bottom line is, again, they need to keep this energy going. Games like last night are the games we need to constantly see from the Warriors. That high energy, high octane, come back, make everything, show that you belong in the title contention, especially after a very bad game against the Thunder. Now, going into the Spurs game Friday, if they could do this back-to-back, all right, this is something to be discussed because they have that energy and they know they have that dog in them. And that's the big thing about playoff teams. If you have that dog in them, you can be down 21 points but still find a way to come back. And the Warriors have shown that they can do that time and time again. They came back last night against the Spurs. They came back about 2 weeks ago against the Nuggets. And they really, really attacked, and they found ways to win. Now, if they continue to find ways to win, they're going to be just fine, but they have to address the issues so they don't always have to come from behind. And that big issue, again, is the issue in the middle, that big center that they need, especially if they're not going to play Quentin Post a lot of minutes. 5 minutes for Quentin Post last night was too little. Now, I get you want a more physical guy on the likes of Wemby to sort of outmatch him and be able to push him around, but the fact is, you can't teach height. Like, it doesn't matter how strong they are. Wemby could just reach up and grab the ball right over you, and there is nothing you can do when you're a good, 8 inches shorter, and then his arms are as long as your leg. There's nothing you can do about that. So, Warriors, if the Warriors can keep the energy going and address the issues, I don't believe there are going to be any more hidden agendas in the locker room, as well as any issues with fighting from behind the 8 ball in future games, or even as the season goes along where they're falling behind in the standings and they constantly have to play catch-up. Now, that's all we have today for the Warriors Latest. As always, if you enjoyed the show today, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you have any ideas on who the Warriors could trade, like they're not going to trade Moody, but who they could trade, say, Pods or Buddy Hield for early in the season, feel free to comment below, as I love hearing your ideas. And as always, go Dubs.